Hi, good evening, sir. कैसे हैं आप?
बस मैं ठीक हूँ दीपक. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all
Good
good.
evening to everyone. Thank you for joining.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi. So Deepak, I think I circulated that message on the group.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure people
Also,
have
I found it.
read that message, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Fine. So I think before we'll take some questions first, and then we'll have that relaxation session towards the end, so that I want that people are waiting till the end, and we are completely relaxed by the end of the session,
sure,
right?
sir.
Right. So I think for half an hour, Deepak, if there are any questions that people want to ask, we can take that.
Yes, yes, you can unmute and you can ask, guys. Or also
Sure.
you can post in.
I'd seen a few of the topics that had been mentioned on that Word file, Google Docs file,
Yes, sir.
that
Yes,
people
sir.
are struggling with some issues related to focus, right? Anyone wants to ask any questions regarding that? Okay. So somebody has asked questions about self-doubt. So self-doubt is like, double-edged sword. To some extent, it is also helpful to us, but you need to determine till what extent it is there, right? Especially when you're saying that you have faced failure in your life first time. Yes, it is going to scare you, but mind is afraid because mind wants you to prepare more. See, that is the reason, right? Why mind doubts us is because it wants us to prepare more, because it has faced failure. It is just trying to tell you that this time you need to be prepared even more. But sometimes the mind doesn't know how much more to prepare, especially when we are, giving a competitive exam like NEET PG, where we don't know what is the end, right? Because the curriculum is so vast, the questions are going to be so random. Sometimes we'll not know anything about certain questions, and that can happen even to the toppers. And that's the reason when mind is confused, it just keeps doubting you, so that you keep on working hard. That is what the mind is trying to do. But when that exceeds beyond a point, yes, it can trouble you. At that point, you just have to ask yourself one simple question, that out of all the things that are happening today, what is that one thing in my control? And just try and focus on things which are in your control. Otherwise, this doubt is an endless cycle. It will keep on going endlessly, one after the other, right? So just ask yourself this simple question: what is there in my control today? And at the end of the day, just be accountable to your own self. You don't need to be accountable to anyone else. Just ask yourself कि आज मैंने जो भी plan किया था, whatever I had planned for the studies today, or whatever I had planned for the day, did I complete that? How much I was able to complete? Just be accountable to your own self, and that is good enough. So take it one day at a time. Right now, that is what I would want, that there are 5 6 months to go for the NEET exam. I want that you take each day as it comes, and consider that every day you are learning and adding something. So every day you're becoming slightly 1% also better. That is also a good thing to do, right? So just focus on that at the point. Don't focus on the end goal right now about what will be the rank, what will be the result, whether you will get the admission or not. Currently, just focus on every single day you have a golden opportunity to add to your knowledge and to become better, right? Okay. I think somebody's asked about effectively for 8 hours. See, for some people, reading a number of hours would be there, but I would suggest that however many hours you are currently reading, first try and improve the quality. So how can you look at the quality is, at the end of every study session, let's say you're studying for 45 minutes at a stretch or 1 hour at a stretch, just do a self-reflection that in this 45 minutes to 1 hour, how much was I present? So you will be able to understand what was your quality time during this particular period. So let's say just after 45 minutes, you set an alarm and evaluate. Reflect on how these 45 minutes went by. Were there any distractions that happened to you? Were there any point of time you lost focus or lost track of what you wanted to study? And then in the next 45 minutes, try to cover that up. So that is how you become better with each passing study session. So look at it as a study session rather than looking at it as 8 hours at a stretch, right? That will become easier for you. Right? I think Shweta, this is what we're doing, right? Like we are at least connecting digitally. So we are dealing with that loneliness, right? So see, there are so many people like you and everyone, who is there in the same boat, trying to fight it out. And consider this as a period of self-growth, right? Like, you must have heard about the story of caterpillar becoming a butterfly, right? When the caterpillar is about to become a butterfly, it just wraps itself in a cocoon, right? So if we want to grow in life, and if we want to transform in life, that period of loneliness is actually a period of our growth. So consider, similar analogy in our life as well. That this is a period of loneliness. This is a period where probably you are cut off from everywhere in the world, but this is your period, right, where you are going to become a butterfly. So just consider that vision in mind always, right? Melatonin to a certain extent is fine. I would say not to, exceed beyond a certain dosage. So what is a safer dosage? I would recommend that if you do not have any clinical issues, you can take melatonin up to 5 mg. That is fine if it is working well for you. In some people it works well, in some people it doesn't work well. I would say that for now, if you really wish that your sleep cycle becomes a little sorted, the best thing that you can do is make sure that you avoid taking longer naps in the daytime. So even if you are napping in the day, make sure it is not more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Beyond that, anytime you sleep more than that, your nighttime sleep is going to get affected. And make sure that if you're planning to sleep at night, you wrap it up by around 11 to 2. This is a golden period, right? 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. If you are able to sleep during this time, your body will be much more relaxed and you'll be able to have a good long-lasting sleep as compared to, let's say, you sleep at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and very late into the night when your body is already started to become aroused. So this is our natural biological clock that is going on. So at least try to be somewhat consistent with your own internal clock. See, we cannot be completely consistent because biological clock is telling us that it is already sunset, so we should be sleeping by now. But here we are awake and probably talking with each other, right? So it's not going to be 100% possible, but at least 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the time when you can make sure that you are sleeping. Don't do beyond 2 a.m. That's what I would recommend. Anyone wants to just ask the questions, I think you can unmute yourself so that it becomes interactive and doesn't become like a monologue. Right.
Hello sir, good evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Sir, I want to ask one question. जैसे कि अभी मैं घर से पढ़ रही हूँ, अच्छे से पढ़ती हूँ, बट मेन प्रॉब्लम ये होती है मैं अकेली मेडिको हूँ मेरे घर पे, और तो फिर घर वालों की बातें कुछ और होती है, मेरी बातें कुछ और होती हैं. घर वाले बुलाते हैं मुझे बात करने के लिए, मैं नहीं जाती क्योंकि वो बात करते हैं मुझसे, मेरा माइंड डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है, फिर मुझे वापस बहुत डिफिकल्टी होती है पढ़ने में. तो मतलब उस चीज को थोड़ा कैसे अवॉइड करें कि घर वालों को, मैं चाहती हूँ उनको भी टाइम दूं, बिकॉज इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू गिव टाइम टू योर फैमिली, और साथ में पढ़ाई भी. तो how can we balance that?
Right. So you can decide कि one time of the day, let's say 20 minutes or 30 minutes is a time when you're going to talk with your family members, and make sure that whenever they are available, or let's say, at a dinner table, you're sitting together and having a meal or having a cup of coffee or cup of tea together. Let's say if your parents or your mother or father together, and you just want to spend some good 20 minutes time with each other, you can have that over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, so that at that time you are also relaxing and you're not taking it as a task. And just tell them that, currently for the next 5 months, it's going to be very important for you to just stick to your target. So even if you're not able to spend time, they should not feel bad about it. And you also don't need to feel guilty about it, right, Ruby? So you can just tell them this and be very honest and be straightforward, so that they also don't have their undue expectation or, start to think why she's not talking to us. She's always busy. She's not giving us time. They should not think like that. So you give 15-20 minutes of your time over a cup of tea, or let's say having a dinner together. Something like that can be incorporated.
Okay, so thank you.
Right, thank you. Right. I think Dr. Sonal has asked a very pertinent question, which I'm sure everyone faces, right? So when you're trying to avoid distractions, see, understand, Sonal, that focus is never going to be that, 100% focus every single day. It is not going to be humanly possible, right? We are not gods, so we are not going to have that kind of focus. So anticipate in advance that whatever focus you have today, it might happen that tomorrow it can go up and down. But what are the strategies for you to quickly come back on track? That is most essential, right? It is never going to be possible for any person out here that for all 7 days a week, the person is going to be 100% focused. So you try and find out firstly, what are your most common distractions? Is it your mobile phone? Is it your friends? Is it some news? Is it some social media or anything else, which is the most distracting factor for you? And at least when you are studying, make sure that those distractions are kept aside. Kept aside meaning not in front of your field of vision. So rather than keeping mobile phone down, on the table itself, no, then I'll be tempted to see it. So if you think that mobile phone is a distraction for you, don't keep it in the field of your vision. You can keep it in some other room, or you can keep it on a do not disturb mode and just keep behind you on some other table or a bench or somewhere, so that you don't see it often, right? And make sure that your space that you're working, it is as clutter-free as possible. Otherwise, your mind tends to pick up on any cues that are there. If there is a book lying, which is a random novel that is lying on your table that you are studying at, then your mind will automatically go into those thoughts and then start to think about other random stories and stuff like that. So make sure that when you're studying, there are no distractions, especially the external cues related distraction, you can minimize as much as possible. Also, let's say if you're watching videos or something, make sure you keep it downloaded so that your internet is not on at that time. Your Wi-Fi is switched off. There are no incoming notifications that are there, so that the distractions can be minimized from your end. So that is the only thing that we can do. And the moment you realize that your focus is shifting, quickly come back on track. So don't expect that you'll be 100% on track all the time, but the more quickly you come back on track, that is going to be essential. So how you can keep checks is, as I said, at the end of every day, just evaluate mentally. 5 minutes you take out of your time before you sleep and just visualize कि आज का दिन मेरा कैसा रहा. And just don't think in terms of कि targets मैंने achieve किए कि नहीं. Think also in terms of the quality. कि आज मैंने शायद target complete नहीं किया, but whatever I studied really well. I enjoyed studying, and I look forward to studying more tomorrow. I cleared some of the concepts, and today I managed to stay away from the distractions. So that is also a little victory that you can count every single day. So there are these little victories that are there in our everyday life. If you are able to remain away from distraction, if you are able to sleep well, if you are able to eat well, if you did some little exercise, if you solved few extra MCQs, all these are little victories that you can count of the day. So just have a visualization at the end of the day, and then you'll be more likely that you're going to be focused rather than distracted. I think Kirtana has asked 6 hours sleep sufficient for now. See, it depends for everyone. The sleep duration can be different. The range is about 5 hours to 9 hours. So there are some people who are short sleepers, and then there are some people who are long sleepers. So if you think that you are able to sustain your energy throughout the day after sleeping for 5 hours or 6 hours, then that is absolutely fine. And if you think that you require 7 hours or 7.5 hours or 8 hours to be functional, then that is also absolutely okay, right? Do not compromise on the quality of your sleep. That is one thing I'll tell you. So even if you're sleeping, let's say 8 hours or 9 hours, you still have another 14, 15 hours remaining of the day. And if you focus on that, you'll be able to do much better. So don't guilt trip yourself if you are sleeping less or sleeping more. Rather focus on how much productivity you have and how much energy you have at the end of the day. So it shouldn't happen that, let's say you're sleeping just 4 or 5 hours, and then your battery runs out by around 9 p.m. and then you're dragging from 9 to 12, 9 to 1, and then during those 2 or 3 hours, you're just studying hardly effectively for 1 hour. It shouldn't happen like that. So whatever studies you are doing, don't do it just for the sake of number of hours, but look at the quality as well. Right? I think boyfriend-related questions can be taken up personally, right? Wouldn't be wise to discuss all those things here, but yeah, definitely. If you need help, let me know, right? And talk about it with your friends, right? So that you are able to manage the situation much better, right? But yes, if you are getting distracted by, let's say, even people or anybody else, be very straightforward. Nobody's going to mind. You are also studying currently. The other friend of yours could also be studying currently. So you focus on your goals, let them focus on their goals. Just tell them whatever it is there, straightforward. So if you're saying that just switching off the Wi-Fi is not working, where are you watching the YouTube? You're watching it on a particular device, then please keep that device aside. If you want, you can use PDF, download notes, and probably keep them in hard copy so that you don't have to use the devices as minimal as possible, right? So you could do something like that initial days, and then probably go on to make sure that if you have a tab, you're using that tab only for the purpose of your studies, not for any other purpose. And for that tab, you have the Wi-Fi and internet connectivity completely off. And just give yourself a challenge that, okay, I was able to go without internet or go without YouTube for 30 minutes. That's an achievement, right? Next session, target 40 minutes, right? Gradually keep on improving. So you also take it up as a challenge, because see, our mind has this tendency to go back to all these kind of sources which are distracting because they give us dopamine. See, all these sources, be it YouTube, be it social media, why is it that our mind keeps going back to these sources? Because whenever our mind perceives something as novelty, our mind feels reward and the dopamine gets released. And that's the reason why our brain wants to keep doing it over and over again. So it's also a battle that you're fighting internally, not just with the MCQs and not just with the other competitors with you, but it's also an internal battle. So take it up as a challenge that, okay, for 5 minutes, can I sit without internet? That's great. Go 10 minutes next time. So gradually, consider that attention and focus is also like a muscle, right? Like you go to gym, you directly do not start with a 20 kg dumbbell. You start with 2 kgs, 3 kgs, depending upon your current status, and then gradually lift heavier weights. So in similar ways, you start by switching off your Wi-Fi, switching off your internet for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and gradually increase that time. Best way to refresh during the breaks, I think a lot of people also have this question. I think the best way it could be when you're taking a break, do not do any activity which involves a lot of your cognition. Meaning, do not do any activity which involves a lot of your thinking, a lot of attention giving or making decisions. Go take a walk, have a cup of tea, or just have a sip of water. Just look outside the window, hear the noise of the sound of the birds or the noise coming from the vehicles outside. So anything which is not very taxing on your cognition. So because when you're taking a break, you want your brain to recharge and recover. So it is like, let's say if you've kept your phone on a charging mode and you're still using the phone continuously, then it will take longer for the battery to get charged, right? So it is something similar. So when you're taking a break, it should be no cognitive activity. You take a walk, you have a sip of water, sip of coffee, talk to someone in the family, talk to a friend of yours, listen to some song, that is fine. But don't do any activity which involves a lot of decision making, lot of planning, lot of attention giving, lot of memorizing. Don't do such kind of activity. So no using, mobile phones, particularly at that time, just to randomly chit chat with people, right? Don't do that. If you want to have a conversation, quick 5-minute call with your friend or something. That is much better than having, a chit chat kind of a conversation, because it has been shown across research that when you're typing the messages, your cognitive load is much more than we are speaking or conversing. And it will take just 2 minutes to have a conversation, but it will probably have, 15-20 minutes to have a similar conversation over just text messages. So I think you can do that. Right? Okay. Anything else? Anyone wants to unmute and ask? Probably. पढ़ने का मन नहीं करता यार, देखो ये बात है. But then see, nobody has forced us. I think the moment we realize that we are in a privileged situation, right? Like we are all completed our MBBS, right? So it's a position of privilege that we all have. So many people would want to be in this same position, right? Just remember all those days, Ash Medico, that you were in your 12th standard. So many people must have given the NEET UG exam with you, right? And out of that, only few people were able to take into MBBS. So we are all lucky and blessed in that sense that we have got this opportunity. So rather than considering it as a task and this exam as a pressure kind of a situation, just consider this as another opportunity for us to gain more knowledge and to advance in our career. See, whatever you have achieved right now, nobody is going to take it away. So even if you are MBBS, that's a big degree, because so many people wanted to just join MBBS and would easily swap places with you. Believe me, there are so many people I see, who have unfulfilled dreams. People in physiotherapy, people in nursing, people in, let's say, other non-medical fields who wanted to pursue MBBS but couldn't do that. So at least we have this opportunity. So just tell your mind that, we have a position of privilege here, and whatever we do, it's going to be bonus and beneficial to us. And slowly, steadily, it is also going to contribute to the society also. Because once you become a better doctor, once you gain more knowledge, I'm sure you're going to help more people, not just in society, in your family, and to your own self as well. So every day, remind yourself of this privilege that we have. We have got the opportunity to study these 19-20 subjects, this human body, which is, so beautifully made. So I think we need to be blissful about it, right? I think exam anxiety and all will deal definitely, talk about as we go further also.
Hello, sir. Prachi
Yeah.
here.
Prachi, hi.
Sir, 3 months ago, I started preparation. लेकिन सर प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है कि एक ग्रीप आती है 15-20 दिन तक, उसके बाद कोई ना कोई इश्यू होता है, घर का इश्यू या फिर फ्रेंड्स के साथ कुछ भी, तो वो ग्रीप चली जाती है. और वो जाने के बाद 3 दिन तक डीमोटिवेट फेज में जाता है. फिर 5वें-6ठे दिन में ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत सारा टाइम चला गया है, तो फिर से पढ़ना. फिर हम 6ठे-7वें दिन वो स्टार्ट करते हैं, लेकिन वो जो 15 दिन पहले वाली ग्रीप आई थी वो नहीं आ रही है फिर से. तो उससे बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेशन होती है. और मान लो कि 10वें दिन तक आप ग्रीप ला दो, अगेन अगले महीने ऐसा कुछ ना कुछ होता है. तो ये सारी चीजें जो माइंड में बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्शन करती है. और जैसे जैसे लाइक नवंबर में ऐसा हुआ तो ठीक, दिसंबर में ऐसा हुआ तो ठीक, लेकिन अब जन-फेब में ऐसा होगा तो उससे उभर के फिर से वो स्टार्ट करना, और वो कॉन्फिडेंस लो हो जाता है कि अब तो एग्जाम नजदीक है, 4 महीने 5 महीने बाकी. अगर ऐसे ही ग्रिप हर महीने चली जाएगी तो कैसे होगा? तो सर उसका कैसे डील करें?
तो प्राची, जैसे आप कह रहे हो, वो चीज, इज इट हैपनिंग because of certain factors that you can avoid, then make sure that you avoid it, right? As we discussed, we need to develop that cocoon as a caterpillar हमें वो cocoon बनाना पड़ेगा. If that is even little bit destroyed, the butterfly will not be able to emerge out of it. So वो जो egg shell हमें बनाना पड़ता है on the outside, that we'll have to create. So if you think there is a problem going on with the friends and with the family, make sure that you postpone it for the next 5 months. Even if you don't do any action with your family or friends for 5 months, I'm sure nothing majorly is going to happen, right? So at least from your end, you can give it a promise to yourself that I will not get involved. I will maintain my boundary. So when I realize that, okay, there are certain topics in the family which are going to disturb me, I will stay out of it. I will not expect that, they will stop talking, because they would not, right? See, they are living their normal lives. They are not preparing for NEET PG exam. So they will continue in the same way. But for you, it is important. So you step aside. And whenever you realize that there are conversations which are happening, which are emotionally disturbing to you, be absolutely okay with saying that currently I'm not in an emotional capacity to deal with this. So I'm not going to handle this. So leave people for 5 months. Nothing bad is going to happen. So if there are people who are very much dependent on you, tell them very straightforward that I'm going to be available to you, but not for this next 5 months, right? And say sorry in advance so that they will also not mind. And if they still keep on bothering you, then you don't need to feel guilty about it, Prachi, because this is an important period of time for you. And if a person who is important to you is not realizing it, then probably they don't require that kind of importance in your life, right? So just step aside and make sure that you develop that boundary. Don't expect them to not create an issue. They will create an issue. We have to anticipate in advance that some issue is going to happen. But if it is disturbing to us, stay out of it. Like, there are some people probably currently in the stage where they're preparing also, but then there are topics of, marriage and everything also happening in the family. So those things can be disturbing to a lot of people, right? So only thing that you can do is you can request them not to discuss those topics in front of you. And if they start to discuss those topics in front of you, you can excuse yourself and go back in your room, go back at your study area. Even if they find, that behavior to be rude, make sure that you maintain your boundary. Right? So at least you are getting less affected as much as possible. And when you realize that you are affected, at least minimize the duration of that period, right? So when you're saying that 5 days it gets affected or 3 days it gets affected, yes, one day you might get affected, quickly try and come back to that the next day. That's what we want, right? So there are going to be ups and downs, but let your downs be very short. That's what we want.
सर, और मेरा क्या है, आपने जो कमबैक वाली बात बोली, तो जो कमबैक का वो 1 डे या 2 डे होगा, उसमें आप अच्छा नहीं पढ़ पाओगे, आपकी थोड़ी थोड़ी ग्रीप आएगी। और मेरा ऐसा है कि जब हीट होगा तो फुल स्पीड में कितना भी हॉट हुआ हो या कुछ भी हो, मैं फुल पढ़ लूंगी कि जब मुझे अंदर से रियलाइज होगा। और जो डिमोटिवेटेड डेज हो गए उसमें मैं कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ूंगी, तो वो मेरे दो फ्रस्ट्रेटेड डेज नहीं आते, वो मुझे बहुत डील करना टफ
होता है। But what happens is, Prachi, here again I'll tell you something about our mindset that lot of times we feel कि हमने आज के दिन में कुछ भी नहीं किया। Now एक्चुअल में देखें तो वो ऑब्जेक्टिवली कुछ भी नहीं होता है। You have done something, right? But what happens is when you have not achieved your target or when you have performed less than what you used to perform, automatically some people start to think that I have not done anything. So I don't want you to be in that mindset. Continuously be in a growth mindset where, okay, even if I was disturbed today, I could solve 20 MCQs. I could, read for 1 hour. So that is also progress, Raji. Consider that. See, if you look at it that way, then you will not be so much frustrated with yourself. Because what happens is a lot of that happens internally, where we start to be frustrated on ourselves that, I wasted my day, I have not done anything at all. But when we objectively look at it, you might have done at least 5 MCQs or 10 MCQs, and that's also good enough on a day when you're feeling really low. So make sure that there are no 0 days from now onwards, right? Unless you are taking it as a conscious break. Like if you want to go for a vacation for a couple of days, that is a conscious decision. But otherwise, don't let it be that there is a 0 day. 0 day meaning absolutely you have done nothing at all. So make sure that even before you sleep, just solve 5 MCQs so that there are no 0 days in between. So that also is a progress. So consider it that way only. And it is going to be in this cycle only, Prachi. So don't expect that all 30 days would look similar, just like it is happening. No, it is happening with others also. Only thing is, if you become very critical of yourself, then you will be longer trapped in that same cycle. So we don't want to be critical of ourselves. Just imagine that, let's say you are cheering up for someone who is running a marathon, right? So if that person slows down a little bit, you will not be critical on him. You will rather encourage him. Come on, go on, go on. There is so much more to cover. You'll be able to cover. You'll be able to match up with the speed. That is what will motivate ourselves. So just motivate yourself just like you will do to your best friend, right? Consider that.
Thank you, sir. Means a lot.
Okay. I think somebody said that I feel very sleepy during the daytime. Doesn't matter how much sleep I had at night, and it's really easy to stay awake at night. See, if it is so, for some people, who genuinely are able to just study at night, as you're saying, then you don't need to randomly change your cycle to just start studying early in the morning. If you're comfortable with it, and if you're making sure that you're studying well at night and taking enough rest during the daytime, then fine, you can continue with that. Make sure that as the exam day approaches, at least you're not dragging yourself. So at least a couple of days before the exam, don't do all-nighters. At that time, make sure that you're taking rest. Even if you're not able to sleep, that's fine. But make sure that you're taking rest. That is what I would do. And on the day of the exam, because your adrenaline and everything will be rushing, you'll be able to stay awake. So don't worry about that. Anybody has any question? Any other question? Or, we'll go to that relaxation activity.
Good evening, sir. Sir, Charu this side.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, sir. Sir, as Prachi said कि like जैसे मतलब like बीच में float होता है and like grip नहीं बैठता, तो sir suppose like हम try कर सकते हैं कि like मतलब हमें involve नहीं होना किसी भी matter में, but if we get involved, तो like how to manage our like those 0 days कि आज नहीं पढ़ाई हुई, तो like उसको convert करना ठीक है, MCQ solving वगैरह like obviously वो तो करना ही है, but how to control our mind कि नहीं उस direction नहीं जाना, like we have to sit, we have to study, मतलब like mind को कैसे control करें, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा distraction.
If it is not very personal, Charu, can you share what exactly are you saying? कोई ऐसा topic आपके mind में आ रहा है जिसकी वजह से you get very much triggered? If it is not very personal, right?
No, sir, it's not personal. बहुत छोटे-मोटे matters होते हैं, मतलब कभी like जैसे कोई suppose non like medico friend है, उनमें मतलब बहुत छोटे-मोटे matters हैं, मतलब but sir, suppose morning में पढ़ाई नहीं हुई due to some call or something like morning distractions and everything, तो फिर उसका effect afternoon में आता है.
हाँ, तो वो आफ्टरनून में क्यों आता है? बिकॉज यू कंसिडरिंग दैट एज अ कंटिन्यूएशन कि यार आज का पूरा दिन ही चल रहा है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई पहले भी मैंने एक बार बात की थी कि डोंट कंसिडर इट एज डेज. अदरवाइज क्या होगा कि इवन इफ 1 hour गेट्स वेस्टेड, यू विल स्टार्ट टू थिंक यार आज के दिन की शुरुआत पूरी हुई है, आज का दिन बुरा जा रहा है. सो व्हाट आई वुड सजेस्ट इज डिवाइड योर डेज इनटू मल्टीपल सेशंस, राइट? सो लेट्स से मॉर्निंग में आपके 2 सेशन थे पढ़ाई के, आफ्टरनून में यू हैड 2 सेशंस, एंड इन द इवनिंग यू हैव 2 more sessions. So let's say even if the 2 morning sessions get completely wasted, completely zero, still you have 4 more sessions available to yourself, and take this up as a challenge to your own self ki, okay, out of those 4 sessions, even if I'm able to study for 2 more sessions, that will also be a good enough thing on that particular day, so that at the end of the day I can reflect that okay, out of 6 sessions of 45 minutes each I wanted to study, I was able to study well on 2 sessions, even though my other 2 or 3 sessions got wasted. So consider dividing your day into smaller things. See, the more we divide it into smaller things, now it becomes better for us. So let's say 1 hour got wasted, that's fine. You have next 3-4 hours for yourself. Make sure that you cover up in those 3-4 hours, so that you, at the end of the day, you can tell yourself that okay, even though I was disturbed in the morning, I could do something in the afternoon and something in the evening. And you start to take that up as a challenge itself, Charu, and see that gradually, your mind's ability to function even during that chaotic environment will improve. Right? So take that as a challenge.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Thank you.
Dr. Sri, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, what happens is during my weekends, I have a kid actually. She's 6 years old. Okay. So I feel like taking her out all the weekends. I feel like I waste the weekend or something. The time I see her smile, I am able to spend more time with her. Once after that, I feel very guilty about that. I lost my day. I just wasted it whole day. Sir, is it like anything, like something wrong that is going on with my mindset, or I don't know?
See, Dr. Shri, if you're thinking that your daughter is important for that weekend and she's happy at the end of the day, she's smiling at the end of the day, then I think you have had a good day in that sense, right? But if you're thinking that every weekend, if you're doing that and that is disturbing your rhythm, then probably for at least next few months, even if you don't do it every weekend, and let's say you do it once in 2 weekends, or probably even on weekends you spend rather than 2 days, 1 day or half a day also with her in a quality manner, I think she will be upset for a little bit, but in the long run you'll be able to make up for it, because see, after the exams are done, probably you will have some longer time available to yourself to make up for it. So don't remain in that guilt also, but at the same time, if you are enjoying that time and she is happy, then you should also be happy about that, because you had a good day, she was happy, you were happy. Yes, it disturbed your rhythm a little bit, but you can always come back on track again. So minimize the number of days probably if it is possible, right? I know it is easier said than done, but if you have someone else to also make sure that your child is feeling good about it, or can take your child outside, then delegate also that duty. Don't
No, sir,
always
there
be
is some sort of guiltiness all the time that I don't spend time with her. I
no,
am
but
always with the book and I am just
right.
keeping on with the book and I am just
Hmm.
I don't give her a proper
Hmm.
time. So
Right.
that is the main thing what is running in my
Right,
mind.
right. No, I can get that, completely. But only thing is, just realize this: at the end of it, if you are able to clear the exam and get good marks and get a good result, I'm sure, after a few years, your daughter will be proud of you for
Yes,
what you have achieved in your life. And eventually, there is a part of you also who wants to do it for her also, right? Like her life is going to
definitely.
become better, right? And the quality of your life and everything is going to become better. So for that duration, if you want to, sometimes sacrifice that a little bit, that is fine. Right? Those
Yes, sir.
sacrifices would also be, things that you will cherish once you're able to
Definitely.
clear the exam. So that is fine.
Definitely, sir.
Right?
Thank you.
Just
Thank
consider,
you, sir.
let's say if you were away, in a different place, you were transferred to a different place where you could not take her, right? You would
Yes,
still
sir.
be doing your job. You would not quit your job, right? So you would
Yes,
still be there. Because I had a friend of mine, who had a baby just last year, and then, his office transferred him to a remote place. And unfortunately, he couldn't take the family along, but he has to remain there for the next 1 or 2 years, right? So at least
yes,
it is better enough for you that at least once in 2 weekends or 3 weekends also you are able to spend time. So just consider that for now.
yes,
Right?
sir. Can definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
All the best. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right.
हेलो सर शिवेंद्र हियर
Hi.
सर एक्चुअली मैं अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ पूरे टाइम पढ़ाई करता था ड्यूरिंग एमबीबीएस डेज में बट
Okay.
अभी ड्यू टू सम रीजंस
She's not
अकेले
here,
पढ़ना
ना?
पड़ रहा
तो ही
है
बताओ यार, ऐसे पर्सनल बातें नहीं
बट
पता. Hope she's not
बट
here.
सर अभी अकेले पढ़ना पड़ रहा है
हाँ.
तो फोकस नहीं आ रहा रिटर्न मतलब उतना
हम्म.
फोकस नहीं हो पा रहा हूँ तो उससे अभी कैसे डील करूँ लास्ट 10 डेज से
मतलब साथ में पढ़ते थे तो क्या करते थे? Like, you used to discuss things with each other या फिर what would you do?
साथ में सर जैसा लाइक एक सेम टॉपिक कंप्लीट किया तो आपस में बोल के डिस्कस कर लेते थे और
Right.
एमबीबीएस में भी पूरा ऐसे ही किया था पूरे टाइम
Is she
तो
still with you या नहीं? अभी नहीं हो साथ में आप लोग?
अभी सर ब्रेकअप हो गया
Okay, I'm sorry to know that, but देखो, अगर कोई फ्रेंड है जिसके साथ डिस्कस कर सकते हो, if you find a buddy kind of a person, who wants to discuss topics with you, then you can still consider doing that with some other person. Or else, I know it is difficult at this point of time, but what you could do is, let's say you revise one particular topic and then ask someone, in this WhatsApp group itself, if they want to discuss that topic with you or some subject that they wish to discuss with you. So at least that way also, if you can do some little things, that would be good. Or let's say if you have your juniors or someone else studying, if you want to discuss those topics with them over let's say a video call or a Zoom call or something like that, that can also be done. Or else you can just record it, right? Use your voice recorder in your mobile phone. You read one topic, you understand one topic, and just try and explain it as you would explain it to a friend of yours, right? Probably that can also be done.
यस सर
Right?
और लास्ट ऑप्शन सही है सर रिकॉर्ड करके
है ना? तो वो थोड़ा सा ऐसा भी हो सकता है, तो भी कर लो, चलेगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. या फिर किसी को पूछ लो, anyone let's say who is bored and doesn't want to study at this point of time, वो सिर्फ आपका सुनना चाहता है, आप कुछ डिस्कस करना चाहते हो, that can also be done.
ओके थैंक यू सर
All the best. Right. Anyone wants to ask? I think we'll take for a few minutes and then we can do that relaxation session.
So,
Hi, sir.
hi, sir. I had a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, like बेसिकली लाइक जो ऐसे बोलते हैं ना कि सेल्फ बिलीफ होना चाहिए, वो कैसे आता है? लाइक इन माय केस व्हाट ऑलवेज हैपेंस इज कि मतलब मैं कुछ डिसाइड करती हूँ, फिर मम्मी ने या पापा ने कुछ बोल दिया या कोई फ्रेंड ने उस सेम टॉपिक के लिए जो पढ़ाई से ही रिलेटेड है उसके लिए कुछ बोला, एंड देन आई स्टार्ट सेल्फ डाउटिंग माई सेल्फ कि नहीं शायद वो जो बोल रहे हैं वो सही है, मैं शायद जो सोच रही हूँ वो सही नहीं है. मतलब वो एक माइंडसेट होता है ना कि गिरने से बहुत डर लगता है, मतलब खुद नहीं डिसाइड करना चाहते. और फिर पता रहता है, मतलब एंड में पता चलता है कि नहीं जो मैं सोच रही थी वही बेस्ट था मेरे लिए.
Okay.
तो वो
Right. So
self-
in that sense, I would say that if you fail by taking the things that you wanted to do, that is much better than failing by deciding what others wanted you to do. So वो regret नहीं होगा आपको कभी भी. Let's say if your father told you something or your mother told you something and you were in a dilemma and you went ahead with them and then you didn't achieve that. So what will happen is that probably you will end up just cursing yourself and also blaming them also. So it is better that if you fail, just blame that one person and just take your own responsibility, right? So at least और लोगों को तो blame नहीं जाएगा. So even if you fail, but you also learn during that process. So I think that way also it helps for you to become, start believing in yourself and take better decisions about your life. So I think that is better.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Sir, this is Shweta. I have a question कि there are a lot of times जब खुद को ना पढ़ने के लिए force करना पड़ता है. So it's like कि when you have studied well for 5 or 6 days and it's like कि अब एक वो saturation आ रहा है and then people say कि don't be मतलब in that case कि don't be so harsh on yourself. लेकिन sometimes I feel कि this sentence sometimes becomes an excuse for not studying or like taking a break. So how to make a fine balance between this don't be harsh on yourself and be continue studying.
So probably Shudha, you are studying with a lot of intensity. I would rather want कि वो 5-6 days में भी जो intensity है ना, you minimize that a little bit so that you're not feeling that kind of a burnout. So every day give yourself some chance to break, have a break, some form of entertainment, at least some way in which your mind can completely be relaxed. Don't be harsh on yourself during those 5 days. That is what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So that at least on the 6th day, you will not be so much burnt out. See, the burnout happens because you have studied for 5-6 days at a lot of intensity. And I see that with a lot of students, let's say they study for hours together sometimes, and then at the end of 1 week or 2 weeks, they start to feel that pressure of burning out. So what you can do, Shweta, you can take then dedicated breaks that, okay, after 4th day or 5th day, I'm going to have a light day. And for that light day, you keep a light subject or you keep a short test that you wish to give so that you are not studying for 6-7 hours on that day, but studying just for 2 or 3 hours. So that is also fine. So if your study pattern is such that you study in 4-5 days cycle, then you can keep 6th day as a test day and then have that day for yourself, just relax and come back again on the next day so that you will not feel the guilt, because that is a conscious break that you plan. So as I said, whenever you're taking a break, make sure these are conscious breaks. Otherwise, your mind will take unconscious breaks and disturb your rhythm. So we don't want that to happen. Right? So you can do that. See, if you're satisfied in studying for 5 days, then on the 6th day, you can keep a test or keep a lighter subject and study for a couple of hours, enjoy your day for that period of time, and then come back again on the next day. That is fine.
Sir, as on the intense days, you said, what is the good time for studying like on intense days? I've seen people going for 12 hours, 14 hours. Like we share the Forest app screenshots on the group. It feels like, yeah, I'm studying less. Even if it's 5 to 6 hours, 7 hours per day, it feels like, yeah, people are studying for 14
That will always be there, Shweta. See, because, we'll always keep thinking that we've studied less. But as I said, focus on quality. If you know that out of 6 hours you studied, but it was a quality 6 hours study, then that is much better than studying for 10 hours or 12 hours also. So if you should be satisfied at the end of the day, rather than, looking at how many hours others have studied, because you don't know, somebody who has studied for 14 hours might have studied actually quality work was only for 2 hours or 3 hours. So that can happen with a lot of people, right? So you decide your targets based on the exam date, right? So if you know that you are able to complete your revisions and complete whatever targets you've kept for yourself, then you're going at a good pace, even if you're studying for 4 hours or for 10 hours, that is fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
And guys, don't worry about forest ranking. There are many people who are using just to avoid phone uses.
That is also true. No? See, that is one way in which a lot of people are using Forest app, right? So, see, that is where you avoid distractions also. So, even if you're able to stay 14 hours without distraction, that is a good start, right?
Yeah. That is the mean that at least we are doing 8-10 hours of
Exactly. And that should take, if you consider that as a sense of healthy competition rather than, considering there as an inferiority or superiority thing. Right? So you can consider that, okay, take it as a healthy challenge.
Good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So
take it as a healthy challenge, right? Like, it's like, let's say you are playing a team sport, right? And you have someone who is like, let's say you're Sachin Tendulkar in your team, right? So Sachin Tendulkar is going to score more runs, but you take inspiration from him, right? Like, okay, try and see that, okay, I'll also try and compete with him in a healthy way, rather than feeling that, oh, he's scoring, I'm not scoring, so I'm a worse batsman. Don't be in that mindset. Continuously try and grow, and probably if there is someone who is consistently putting in more hours, you could also try and ask them, what is their formula? How are they able to sustain for longer duration? Probably they will be able to give you much more, insights into that compared to me, because I'm not studying at this point of time, but they are studying, and see, luckily for me, I had less digital distractions available to me, right? You guys are studying in an environment where you have so many distractions, right? When I was studying for my NEET PG, we didn't have even Marrow and everything, right? All the classes and everything was just offline. So we had just offline notes available to us. So we didn't need to use mobile phones or laptops as much. So if you find someone in your friend circle or in your group also who is studying for more hours consistently, I think you can ask them. And I hope, people also start sharing their tips. See, it is, by sharing things, we become better ourselves and we keep growing. So do help each other out.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Soumya here.
Yes,
Sir,
Amna.
is it fine if I don't switch on my video camera?
Yeah, fine, absolutely.
Sir, I wanted just to ask, like, sometimes, like, often, not sometimes, it often happens that suddenly I start thinking, like, something happens, I start thinking about my old past, like, some disturbing incidences, सबके साथ होते हैं, right? Some you had a fight or you had a breakup or whatever, like home-wide, you had a chit-chat with your mom, disturbing thoughts and all. And suddenly that starts coming into my loop back to back, and I become anxious and I leave my studies. I understand what do I do to avoid this? Like it happens often, and especially when I'm concentrating, trying to concentrate even more. What do I do to do that?
So somewhere what you can do is, if there are such kind of thoughts which are happening like so frequently as you're saying in your case, you can keep a separate time for that. And we call it in psychology as a worry time. Let's say you have kept a worry time of 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and 15 minutes in the evening. So then whenever you are studying and focusing and concentrating, if a thought comes to your mind, you tell yourself that, okay, I have this 15-minute slot available, let's say 11 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. And at that time, I'm definitely going to think about this consciously. See, all the thoughts and all the distractions that are happening, if we allow them consciously, that is fine. You'll be able to deal with it in a much better way. So that your brain will also be then convinced that, yes, you have actually given that time. So don't cheat your brain by saying that, oh, just I'm postponing that, and then I'm not giving myself that kind of a worry time. So when you're telling your brain that, okay, currently I'm having a lot of distracting thoughts, but there is a time available for it. In the 11 to 11:15 a.m., I'm going to think about those thoughts. So dedicatedly give that 15 minutes time for your worries. In the afternoon, in the evening also, if you want to do, you can do that. But give that conscious time. Put it down in your timetable itself so that your brain slowly within a few days starts to learn that, okay, we are allowed to think about all these random things, but only during this period of time. So that distraction will become lesser.
Right, I got it. Thank you, sir. But actually it happens जैसे अभी से एक दिन में ऐसा हर रोज नहीं होगा. Like suddenly.
Still, I would say that give that time. And see, on days when you're not overthinking, consider that as your break time. Just think about random things that you want to think about in your life, but do it dedicatedly only for those 15 minutes. So if you want to keep a alarm clock, let's say every day, 11 a.m. to 11:15 a.m., I'm just giving a random time slot. You can keep alarm for those two duration, 11 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. so that it reminds you that it is your time. You can consider thinking about whatever you want to think, and then come back again and focus on your studies.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Myself, Subramaniam.
Yes, Subramaniam.
Sir,
your job, it will be helpful to you. Okay. Yeah, I think we can take one last question, Deepshika, if you want. I think Deepshika raised your hand, no?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's Deepshika.
Yeah, hi.
So, my question is, I have gotten into a loop of overthinking. Like last year was my first attempt with internship. So I had a very limited number of friends, and few of them have got into JRship, and few are taking a drop. But वो अपने hometown shift हो गए. They were hostlers.
Yeah.
So मेरा problem is life is not going as I planned.
What had you planned?
I had not decided to take a drop. Like I had put in काफी सारे efforts according to me.
The efforts तो आपने put in किए होंगे, but still we also have to consider that part, ना? Deepshika, see, efforts is in your hands, but if it doesn't happen, तो फिर क्या option था आपके पास?
हाँ, तो acceptance नहीं हो रहा. मतलब I'm very वो positive कि ठीक है, एक re-attempt तो देना बनता है, because I'm not getting my dream branch and I don't wanna move out of the city far away. ये सब मेरे को पता है, but the only thing is the feeling of loneliness, and that is disturbing my sleep as well. Mood हमेशा ही sad रहने लगा है, because सब अपनी life में busy हैं. JRship is very tough. Can't ask for time. ऐसा issue हो रहा है. मतलब constant mood चिड़ा रहेगा. I have joined this library specifically कि ठीक है, I'll see other people studying, I'll get motivated.
Exactly. Right. So is it helping you in some extent?
हाँ जी.
Is it helping you in some extent?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because seeing people study, I'm studying. But only thing ये हो रहा है, every other two days या 3 days बाद, it's again coming back ऐसे रात को कि ये तो plan नहीं है. I'm sad. And sir, ये सब sadness वाला part I'm overcoming.
ड्रॉप लेना प्लान नहीं था, दैट इज व्हाट इज हर्टिंग यू द मोस्ट, दीपिका?
मतलब सर ऐसा कभी लाइफ में एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया कि ऐसे
हाँ.
अकेले रह के पूरी आइसोलेशन में जाना है।
But why are you considering this drop as again a kind of setback? See, ये आप ऐसा period लो ना कि this is a period that you have got where you are able to study for 19 subjects and you have got 5 months to study and brush up on whatever concepts that were remaining and whatever you wanted to learn. So consider this as an opportunity in itself rather than thinking कि यार ये ऐसा सोचा नहीं था. ये ऐसा सोचो ना कि यार चलो मेरा जो भी MBBS का knowledge था वो और enhance ही हो रहा है यहाँ पे. So consider this as a period for growth only. Rather than considering कि ना ये period ऐसा था loneliness वाला या फिर this is a period where I have not planned this way. Consider this as an opportunity that you have got कि आपका knowledge और enhance ही होने वाला है. And if you want to connect with someone and if you want to talk with people, I'm sure अगर आपके जो बाकी लोग हैं जो preparation कर रहे हैं, if you are good friends with them and if you want to discuss about other things with them, you could do that. And let's say even if you want to socialize for some period of time, in a day also, let's say you want to talk to random people here on the group itself or someone on the social media या फिर किसी से in person जाकर मिलना है, so you allow yourself to do that if it is
मतलब
possible.
मैं काइंड ऑफ इंट्रोवर्ट ही हूँ, तो मेरे को कोई बोलेगा अभी कि गो एंड टॉक टू न्यू पीपल, वो नहीं होगा मुझसे। मतलब ये है कि ओवरऑल
ओल्ड पीपल है उसमें से कोई है जिससे साथ थोड़ा भी बात कर सकते हो?
हाँ, मतलब यही दिक्कत हो रही है कि अब सबकी टाइमिंग्स डिफरेंट हो गई हैं, प्रायोरिटीज डिफरेंट हो गई हैं।
I think we should make a girl group for you guys, so that we can have more discussions in group. We'll try.
नहीं सर, वो ठीक है, बस सर स्लीप इफेक्ट हो रही है, इसके लिए व्हाट शुड आई डू, बिकॉज़ आई डू क्वेश्चंस एंड देन आई गो टू स्लीप एमसीक्यूज करके, तो माइंड में वही चल रहा है पढ़ाई वाला, तो
हाँ,
स्लीप
तो एक थोड़ा सा कुछ लो ना, एक ऐसा बफर रखो बिफोर यू गो फॉर योर स्लीप. You do some activity which relaxes you, whether it is watching a favorite TV show of yours which you used to watch during your UG days, or listening to some musical piece or something, so that before you go to your bed your mind is not thinking about MCQs. I want you to think about, let's say, your favorite show which you're watching. Let's say you're thinking about Friends or How I Met Your Mother or anything. I want your mind to go in that state before you go into a state of sleep, not thinking about an MCQ which you're not able to answer. So I think do that little activity before you sleep.
मतलब आई शुड एंजॉय दिस प्रोसेस, ऐसे
Yeah, you enjoy that process. You enjoy that process rather than considering this as a turmoil wala phase, a struggle wala phase. I would consider that this is an enjoyable period where you have got an opportunity to read all the subjects. So before you go to sleep, you enjoy that little bit. And if that enjoyment comes in the form of, let's say, talking to your friends, या फिर talking to your family members, या फिर listening to some music, या watching some show, allow yourself that liberty. वो आधे घंटे आप शो देख लोगे तो चलेगा.
सर स्लीप साइकिल वाली जो प्रॉब्लम है, आई वाज हमेशा से एक नाइट आउल स्टडी के लिए, बट अब मैं सोच रही हूँ रात को जगने से ओवरथिंकिंग वाले थॉट्स ज्यादा आते हैं, तो मतलब आई एम ट्राइंग कि मैं जल्दी सो जाऊं. विल दैट हेल्प?
If you are able to study better at night and if you are still thinking that you want to just experiment and see कि कौन से टाइम पे आपकी productivity is at peak, then you can consider studying till late also, if that is more feasible to you. Because for a lot of people at night, because there is no disturbance around, that becomes a good productive hour. And if that has been the case with you all the while, I would want that you continue that and see how it takes you.
ठीक है, thank you sir.
Okay, and we'll do this one relaxation session. Probably that will also help you with being more focused and more consistent, right? So for this, I would just request that if you want to just switch off your videos, you can switch off so that you're not conscious and you can just relax. If you have a bed around, you can just lie down on the bed as well. That is absolutely fine. Okay, we'll start in a minute so that everyone is comfortable and in their position. Okay. All right. We'll start now. Okay. So I just want you all to be comfortably rested and supported, be it on your sofa, be it on your chair, or be it on your bed. Allow your back to be completely rested and put down all the weight of your body onto the support. Gently close your eyes and scan your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. If there is any part of your body which is at discomfort, just allow that body part to be completely rested, completely relaxed. Do gentle movements here and there and become completely rested and relaxed. With your eyes remaining gently closed, I just want you to observe the process of your breathing. The normal, natural breathing which is going on all by itself. Take a deep breath in through your nose and gently breathe out through your mouth. Again, take a deep breath in through your nose, hold for a second, and gently breathe out through your mouth. As you are allowing yourself to experience this process of breathing, just observe how your body, starting from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, is becoming more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable. In between, if there are any other thoughts which are coming to your mind, do not try to suppress or resist or distract your thoughts. Just allow them to come and allow them to go. You know, your mind is like a beautiful blue sky. And in this sky, there are hundreds of birds which keep on flying in and flying out. These birds do not leave their footprints behind. The sky remains spotless, clean, and blue as it ever was. In a similar way, if there are any other thoughts which are coming to your mind, allow the thoughts to come, allow the thoughts to go, and your mind is slowly learning to be like the sky, not getting disturbed by the incoming flight of the birds, the flight of the thoughts in your case. As much as possible, try to pay attention to the process of your breathing. This time, when you are taking a deep breath in, just visualize that fresh oxygen from the atmosphere is going in through your nostrils, down to your lungs, and depositing this fresh supply of oxygen to each and every cell of your body. And at the same time, when you're breathing out, a warm air full of carbon dioxide is being exhaled out from your body, from your lungs, from your nostrils, or from your mouth out into the atmosphere. And with each breath in and with each breath out, your body and your mind are learning to become more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable. Visualize that along with the oxygen that you're breathing in right now, you are also breathing in energy, concentration, and confidence. Just focus on these three words as you are observing the process of your breathing. Whatever visions come to your mind when I say the word energy, concentration, and confidence, you can focus on the letters ENERGY, or you can focus on some image about energy that comes to your mind. And in a similar way, you can focus on what comes to your mind when I say concentration and when I say confidence. You might want to have an image of yourself studying on your desk, paying attention for a sustained duration when you hear the word concentration. And you might also visualize yourself solving some MCQs, doing well in your mock tests, doing well in your exams when you hear the word confidence. And all this gives you a sense of positive energy, the motivation which is necessary to sustain this marathon. Again, take a deep breath in, and while you're breathing in, just visualize that along with the oxygen, you're breathing in energy, concentration, and confidence. And just like that journey of oxygen from your nostrils to your lungs to each and every cell of your body, these three, energy, concentration, and confidence, are also going to each and every cell of your body. And at the same time, while you're breathing out, along with carbon dioxide, you're breathing out all the tension, all the tiredness, and all your fears. You're breathing out all the tension, all the tiredness, and all your fears. Remember, in the depth of your subconscious mind, you can remember this as a mnemonic: ECC versus TTF. You're breathing in energy, concentration, and confidence, and you're breathing out all the tension, all the tiredness, and all your fears. Just continue to visualize and focus on these three words when you're breathing in. You're breathing in energy, you're breathing in concentration, and you're breathing in confidence. Just enjoy this process of relaxation for a few moments in silence. Continue to take deep, refreshing breaths in and slowly breathe out. Just visualize these three words: energy, concentration, and confidence. Having enjoyed this state of relaxation and comfort, and gathering all the energy, concentration, and confidence that you can gather, slowly, I just want you to become aware of your surroundings. With your eyes remaining closed, take a deep breath in and just repeat in your mind that I am feeling energetic, I am feeling confident, and I am able to concentrate much better. Slowly, with each passing day, as you continue to practice this for just 5 or 10 minutes every day, you will realize the difference it makes to the quality of studies that you're doing. Gently, when you feel it's okay, open your eyes and become fully awake. Gently open your eyes and become fully awake. Right, so I'll also have a recording of this, and I'll share this on the group so you can listen to it once a day to begin with, and then you can practice it on your own also. Once you have got the hang of it, you can just do it, visualize it in your mind, and continue to do it. So before you start any session of your study, probably you can listen to it or just practice it, by sitting on your chair itself or lying down on your bed for 5-10 minutes. It will definitely help you. It will give your mind that space to relax. Okay? That's what we want. Okay. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you so much, sir, for the session.
Thank you.
And congratulations on becoming father.
Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Good night, guys. All the best. Take care of yourself. Yeah. Bye.